Good morning, Sebrina.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
All right. I was looking for a link. Y'all made me enter numbers. What in the world?
Well, that's because you never did give us your email.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't ever get. Well, you could have asked. I don't. It's
Yeah,
okay.
I did. I
I'm
did.
good. You did? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But that's why I sent. That's why I sent
I
the
didn't know you
numbers. I
needed
said,
a
well,
link. I didn't know you needed my email to send a link. Just to meet
yeah,
in.
yeah, to send the link to the. You on
No,
script.
I use Zoom. I send it
Still
without.
use Zoom? Okay.
I don't need the email to send it, but it's all good. Good morning. I'm just happy to be here. To God
Good
be.
Yeah,
morning. Good morning. Good
To
morning.
God be the glory, y'all.
yeah.
Okay. Tell me when we're going live.
We're live.
Oh,
Yeah, we live now. We just getting in touch with the radio station.
okay. So we're live on Facebook.
Yes, we
Yeah.
are.
Good
And
morning,
we
everybody. Hi, how are you, Thomas? Only
All
met
right.
you once.
Okay.
How are you, Leah?
I'm fine, thank you. And
All
you?
right. Any kid that feel it stiff by chance?
No,
Okay.
no.
All right. We're live and we're on the radio and welcome. Every day we rise is a great day to be alive, and welcome to the Seven Cities Forums of Hampton Roads presents Portsmouth Coffee Talks morning show. And I'm here. My name is James Slim Overton. I'm here with my co-host, Leah Drake Smith and Thomas the Colonel Chapman. Good morning,
Good
co-host.
morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Monday morning. And look,
Monday morning.
the month is almost gone. Can you believe that?
I can.
August is gone.
Gone.
But anyway, September is a good month because it's my birth month. So
Oh,
I'll be
happy
reminding
birthday.
you of that all the way up until the 24th of September. I'll be reminding everybody my birthday, 24th of
And
September.
and your birthday is 3 days before after my daughter's birthday.
So you should remember.
I
You
should
should remember.
remember.
So no
I should
problem there.
remember.
But anyway, welcome everybody. Welcome to the listeners on WGPL 1350 AM on your dial. And welcome to Facebook. The Facebook listeners, our followers, we appreciate you. And we have a special guest with us this morning, and her name is Sebrina Brown. Good morning, Sebrina. How you doing?
Whoop, whoop. Doing great.
Good morning, Sabrina.
I have a hangover from my event yesterday. Of course,
Yeah, that was a
a
big
tired
event.
hangover. Now I
Yeah,
don't drink alcohol. I'm just tired.
that was a big event, and hopefully you'll tell us about that later. But
Oh,
anyway, Sabrina is here. She is well, first she retired from the postal service after 35 years, and she's went to Booker T. You went to Booker T, right?
yes, yes.
And was a majorette in the band.
What?
Wow.
What?
Okay. And I wanted to warn you when I mentioned about Booker T. We got two greyhounds up here, so
Yes, 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 yes.
so
Rivalry, rivalry.
yes, big rivalry. It still goes on today. It's over 60 years, of rivalry. Over 60 years. One of the longest rivalries between two predominantly black high schools
Exactly.
that are still here. But
Exactly.
anyway, you graduated from Virginia Wesleyan, a bachelor's in business administration, and you're currently pursuing a master's of ministry uh, at Virginia Bible College. Wow, okay, you're a busy lady. And you created Girlfriend's Tea and a social media program that, let me read what it is. A media company serving and engaging community girlfriends dedicated to inspiring, educating, and uplifting women. And it's probably, I would say this is probably something us men should watch too, because I watched a few of the videos, so I learned a little something too.
It's
But it's,
education.
yeah, but the focus is on women and women issues. So we certainly welcome you here today. And what we want to do, we want to go into some of the things or a lot of the things that you're doing. And going back to the postal service, when I saw that at first, I thought maybe you were just, or maybe a mail carrier or someone works in the office. But what you did there sort of was a segue into what you're doing now, because you were involved in you were involved in conducting media interviews and writing speeches for your senior employees. And so that segue was quite natural for you to go into what you're doing today. So But what I want to do first, one of the things here on Portsmouth Coffee Talk, we like our audience to know a little bit about our guests, and a lot of times, what their beginnings is probably something that motivates them into what they're doing now. So, if you will, you grew up in Tidewater Park. So tell us a little bit, because you do a lot of interviews of other people, and very seldom you talk about yourself. And one of the things we want you to walk us through Tidewater Park, and also it's an issue that it took you about 46 years to sort of come to grips with and be comfortable in talking about in public. So, Sabrina, go ahead and then start us there, and we can go forward.
Well, first, James, I want to thank you for the invitation. And Leah and Thomas, I want to thank you both for your time and thank you for what you're doing with Portsmouth Coffee Talk. Hey, I need to go get my mug. But at any rate, I really do. Well, I grew up in Tidewater Park. My mom uh, divorced from my father when I was 5 years old. And we were living in, it was either Florida or California, but I believe it was Florida. So she decided to come back home here so that her extended family, her mom and her sisters and brothers would be able to help in raising us, because my father was not, he did not have a presence in our lives. So in Tidewater Park, those were fun memories for me. I did not realize, as I share my story, I didn't realize we were poor until I got to high school, Booker T. Because you go beyond the community school, Tidewater Park Elementary, Ruffman. Plus, we were older then. And when I saw my fellow students driving cars, I'm like, who drives a car to school?
In high school.
Yes, in high school, and those living in, I mean, so my horizon was expanded, so to speak. So that's when I saw the difference. But one thing I can say, even though I grew up in Tidewater Park, I never felt poor.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew the disparity, the socioeconomic
Mm-hmm.
difference when I went to high school. And so, although I enjoyed being a majorette, I enjoyed all of that, but I often share when I'm sharing personally that my high school memories are not my most fond memories, because I mean, people don't believe it or they may not understand it. I don't know. But I had low self-esteem in high school. I was an extrovert. So don't confuse being an extrovert with having high self-esteem.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
mean, I love talking. That's who I am. That's what God put in me. It's innate. But I really had low self-esteem because I was comparing myself to those who had clothes. I mean, I was young, so certain values, quality values were not instilled in me. They had clothes, their hair was looking good, and all those, I would say, immaterial things that
Mm-hmm.
really don't matter in life. So that's what I was going through. But I had fun. Don't misunderstand me. But inside, Sabrina didn't feel good about her. But my mom did an exceptional job in making sure that we had food on the table. She sacrificed a lot. As I shared recently, my mom basically worked minimum wage all her life,
Mm-hmm.
all of her life. But she was adamant about those grades. She was adamant about those grades. One thing that's on my report card today, I'll never forget my elementary school teacher, Miss Linda Catan, and I wish I could find her today. She wrote on my report card, I had A's and B's, she's bright, but she talks too much. So I tell people some things never change. I'm still
Exactly.
a talker. It's just that
Mm-hmm.
I'm trained in it now. So there
Mm-hmm.
you go as far as Tidewater Park. And you asked me another part. I just know you asked me about Tidewater Park.
Yeah, the other part, that caused you to create PhD in excellence. That
That's right. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
501c3
Mm-hmm.
program, and that was the cause. So talk about what led you to start that particular program. It sort of ties in with something personal with you.
Yes, yes. PhD in excellence is brand new, brand spanking new. The IRS approved us in May of this year. And as soon as I received that letter of approval, I started looking for a venue to do a kickoff event. And I was talking with a friend, Ruth. I actually serve on a board with her. I'm going to spin off of that board.
Hmm.
I should serve on a board with her. And I was just telling her, how hard it was to find a venue. I don't know about you all, but when we would do events years ago, it was just about a certain minimum spend.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's not really a minimum spend, but they have these exorbitant rental fees where
Oh, yes.
you have to, unless you get a sponsor, you have to pass that on
Mhm.
to your ticket holder.
Exactly.
And so I
Exactly.
was talking with her about that. She said, why don't you do it at the Cavalier Golf and Yacht Club? And I'm thinking, really? She said, yeah, she's a member. I'll sponsor you, as a 501c3. So PhD in Excellence. You can find it at phdinexcellence.org. I was talking with my communications person, Vanessa Torres. I love her, by the way. We're friends. And she said, Sabrina, I think you need to make PhD an acronym because they may think it's about a degree.
Right. Right.
So it's an acronym for past, hurt, dismantle.
Mhm.
So
Mm-hmm.
the way PhD came about, my conference last year, you're right, James. I really talk about myself. I really don't like talking about myself. I feel that others have more important stories to share, but I realize that I have a voice and a story as well. So last year, my conference, I revealed to the women of Girlfriends Tea that I was sexually molested as a child and that I was speaking publicly about it for the first time. So there you go. And I decided that I wanted to help raise awareness and educate the general public about it from various points of view. Various points of view.
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing that. And as far as the coffee talk, Leah and I talked about this is coffee meeting tea. Coffee meets tea. So whichever you prefer, they all go in a cup like this. So,
How
Yes.
about that? How about that,
And
James?
but,
far
and,
be it from me to not have my cup. It's in the kitchen, but
yeah,
hey, I always have it on my show.
yes.
Uh-huh.
So, when we first met, we were in the studio. I was WGPL 13, and the Colonel had just come on with me, and you all had started a three-host format with Carlos, and we saw that we ended up kind of borrowing that that idea. But and that's when I first met you, and you were there, and then I guess something you sort of spin off. I guess something grew up inside of you and said, I would like to do something with women, and focus on women and what they're doing and the successes, because you've had some amazing guests on
Mm-hmm.
as far as women. And so uh, maybe what got you what, sort of got you started with thinking about, let me do something like you're doing now with Girlfriends Tea.
Well, Carlos Howard was the first I shared. It wasn't Girlfriend's Tea. I was thinking about doing something else
Hmm.
because he asked me to be a co-host and I just couldn't see it for radio. Like I said, I don't know. I know that I can host events, but I didn't know about carrying a talk show, like having something to talk about. And then plus it was that genre, as far as politics, that's not
Yeah,
my genre.
yeah,
And
that
so I
wasn't
shared,
that wasn't
it
you.
wasn't, I don't, I want to talk about other things. So
Yeah, and
I was just
that
there.
dominated the
Yeah, there you
conversation.
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So when I had my guests, as Carlos would tell you, they were topics that I wanted to talk about, which was
Mhm.
non-politics related at all.
Uh-huh.
But he would
Mm-hmm.
jump in, where he could. But I shared it with him. But it came about as a result of the pandemic. I'm still not awake yet, as I shared with you, but
Mhm.
it came about as a result of the pandemic.
Mhm.
So we were all locked in, and I would occasionally have tea with a friend, Ginger, Pastor Ginger Simpson. And so I said, Ginger, let's have tea via Zoom. So at first it was called tea via Zoom.
Uh-huh.
I invited some of the women that would go out to lunch with me. I now call them the founders because they were the initial base for me, the board, the unofficial board for Girlfriends Tea. And after a few meetings, I decided, hey, let's do this. Let's go ahead and make it official. So although I started in April 2020, the first one was actually in March, but I didn't count that. I really got serious about April 2020. I didn't apply for the business license. I think it got approved in October. But
Mm.
that's when Girlfriend's Tea with Sebrina was born because I found my voice. I
Mhm.
found that I had a voice, but I always hosted events within the United States Postal Service as a master national field trainer. It all just tied in.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'll say one other thing before the other co-hosts. I remember when you first started. I was watching, and one of your guests was Portsmouth Commonwealth Attorney Stephanie Morales. And I was watching. I said, "Oh yeah, I want to join." And y'all had to politely say, "James, it's for women."
I forgot about that. You joined the group. No, you put in the request to join the group.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what it was. I forgot all about that, James. Isn't Stephanie? She is amazing.
mhm,
I'm gonna get her on the show again.
yeah. But that was, I felt. I said, "Oh, okay." But anyway, co-host, go ahead.
But you know what, Sabrina, I got one thing to say that I believe that when you talk about your lineage, I think when you talk about your start, I still go back to your mother. Is your mother still living?
No, she's deceased now. It's been 4 years now.
Okay. So I still think she started it all because one, you said I didn't know that I was poor because she made up everything. That's what mothers do. She
Yeah.
clothed you, you always clean, you always had a little money in your pocket. She says you got to get your homework, and she did everything. And the fact of didn't knowing if I was poor or not being poor I think is that state of mind. She had you in a state of mind that no, I'm not a poor, but I got to achieve so I won't be poor in the future. And so she kept you on track. So I just got to make that one comment. So I got to give props to your heavenly mother. And
I
so
love it. And Thomas, when you said that, it reminded me. Well, my mother had two sisters, so she raised all three of us. It
Mhm,
wasn't just me, three daughters. When I say I had two sisters, but for my graduation gift, she went out and brought me a Chevette. And I'm
mhm,
like, who does? I mean, I'm just saying to you all, but my mother had been on minimum wage. She always had money, and
Mhm.
mhm,
even on minimum wage, she bought a house. We grew up in Tower Park. Then we moved to Huntersville, which was also subsidized housing. But when we were adults, she bought a house and she had a rental property on minimum wage.
mhm, mhm.
Mhm,
I mean, even when we went to meet a real estate agent, I was like, I don't know. She said, honey, your mom is good. Credit A1, she's good.
Mhm.
mhm.
Yeah, that's why I have to give her a prop. So even though I've never met your mother, I know her, and I know, the type of mother, and I see her, and a lot of mothers are out here that we don't
Yeah,
give them enough props out there.
yes,
They're out there.
I
So
agree.
yeah, so we have to do that. But
Yes.
the other piece is that your career with the post office. A lot of folks uh, only see and when we think about the post office, is the folks sitting behind the counter and those driving the truck. And and I wish more of our young folks would understand that yes, the post office is a major institution that you can go far in.
Mhm.
That when they say I'm trying to apply, you just want to get your foot in the door in civil service, and then you can go far.
Absolutely. And look, I will always be USPS blue. I bleed USPS blue. Of course, I bleed the blood of Christ, but I'm talking about I will always. Actually, we have a reunion group and I named it Forever Connected. I
Mhm,
am forever connected. When you work with people for 35 years, and initially when I started, we were working 10 and 12-hour shifts,
Mhm.
long shifts. And at that time in my earlier years, and just like everyone else, when I leave work, you leave it there.
mhm.
But in my maturity, I came to realize, wait a minute, this is your family as
Yeah.
well. So we're connected. But I want to say this, shout out, and I do mean this, to the carriers who are out there
Yes.
walking in the elements and
Mm.
those working the retail counter. They are the foundation of the United States Postal Service. So when I introduce myself, I do say I'm Sebrina Brown from the United States Postal Service. That's how proud I am about that united and
Mm.
being nationwide. And I don't know if everybody's experienced this, but it is true. The delivery service, and I'm not saying this because I retired, because if I couldn't give a shout out, I wouldn't say it. They are impeccable. I have tea. We'll talk about that. I have a tea line. When I tell you some of the packages are being delivered next day,
Mhm.
but getting back to what you were saying, yes, you can. There are so many careers within the United States Postal Service, IT, just like any other organization,
Mhm,
HR, training, marketing. I mean, when I would go out of town, this may sound corny. I went to Florida. I didn't know anybody. I called the manager at the U.S. Postal Service. Hey, I'm coming to this event. Tell me about it. She said, look, I even went to meet her And when my manager needed something, she turned over her office to me. Who does
Mhm.
that? She wasn't there on that Saturday. She said, just give them, I told them you're coming. When I walked in, it was like the red carpet.
Uh-huh.
So connect with people. It's just,
Connections.
it's what you do
Yes,
with it.
it is.
And now I have a network on LinkedIn of hundreds of people just because I retired from USPS. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love it. And if anybody's watching or will see this for the United States Postal Service, just connect with me. Huge
Mhm.
family, because we understand the culture, we understand the environment. It is hard. It is very hard, but it afforded me the opportunity to be able to buy a house and be able to stand on my own 2 feet. Because
Mm-hmm.
when I started, I was 20 years old.
Yeah, and it's one of those jobs where people stay 20, 30, 40
Oh,
years.
yes.
And that creates the kind of family that you're talking about. Yeah.
And you know what? It also serves as a great trajectory, as some of my friends did, to move on in other government agencies. And what a few of my friends told me, one in particular, she said, what the agencies said about the U.S. Postal Service, this is true, is that we show up for work.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
show up for work, and the training that we receive. And I'm not saying this from me. This is what other government agencies said to my friend. The training constant, it's impeccable. The amount of hours that they give us in training, but they did say that we are the most reliable employees, other than maybe those others who work as first responders. And we're not first responders. We're one of the most reliable agencies in the government agency because we have to go. We have to go. We're not considered emergency personnel, but we may as well be.
And Sabrina and Colonel are like this. The only problem that you all might have in the United States Postal Service is when it gets political, appointing those people at the top.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
and people don't realize that government dollars don't support us even today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Government. So I'm happy that I received a pension. I'm happy that I'm still in service, but with as you know, self-support.
Yes, yes. And I know, we're talking about politics, there is a segment, and I call the Confederates are about, they've been out to dismantle the post office, and the Postmaster General now has been out there trying to dismantle the post office. But the post office has been the founding of since the start of our history, and it's kept us free. And I'm I pray for its survival. And I think, but it is a segue. You talk about your family. It's almost like the military. Yes. And when you belong to an organization, a large organization, there's not anywhere in the world or in the United States that you can go and not pick up the phone and say, I need you, I need such and such. And you automatically reestablish that connection just because you would worked at the post office and you're retired post office. I retired Army, da 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 da. And so that span of a family grows by tentacles, and it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
We also have you mentioned, I'm reminded of the African American Postal League, United for
Mhm.
Success. I'm retired, but I'm still a member as a retiree.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Awesome, awesome,
So,
awesome.
Sabrina, let's get to your program. Tell us about how you got started, what gave you the impetus to get started, and how would a woman join to become a part of your program?
Thank you so much, Leah. Girlfriends Tea, you can find us under Girlfriends Tea with Sebrina on Facebook. We have a page and a group. So if you don't want interaction, go to the page. But if
Mm-hmm.
you want interaction and be able to talk with the ladies, because not too many people comment on the page. There are about maybe 500 followers on the page and almost 3,000 now. We're at 2990, something like that,
Mm-hmm.
for the group. So Girlfriends Tea with Sebrina, Facebook group, Facebook page, and IG is where you can find us. I just started a Girlfriends Tea with Sebrina TikTok, and I hope to hire a social media manager because it can be overwhelming. But we interview women from all walks of life. You can find us at girlfriendstea.com. I do have some sample interviews on there as well as YouTube. YouTube,
Mm.
follow us, everyone. YouTube, Girlfriends Tea with Sebrina. Our culture is fun. I don't have my pom pom here because this is not my show, but I always raise the pom pom because I am a cheerleader.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a natural cheerleader, and I love giving everybody a voice, but obviously I can't do everybody. So I usually try to choose those who have a serious footprint or significant footprint on the web, because when people search that individual, it's all business related.
Yes.
People search that individual or that topic, they're going to find Girlfriend's Tea. And that's important to me.
And how, okay, you can join the page, or you can just go and you can watch and see the things that you're bringing to the group.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that. I want to pause on that, Leah, because I used to do all the interviews, as James knows, on social media. Now I'm on Roku. So they can find us on Roku. I can't remember the last time I've gone live on social media. The audience just isn't there for me. They're there. People say they like it, but the numbers are greater on Roku. For example, I mean, during the pandemic, the women would come in hordes. I may have 100 women watching live, but after the pandemic, of course, everybody just, kind of got into their routine. And that's when I realized you really don't have a huge audience. To get hundreds, you have to have probably thousands of members. And then they knew it was replay. So they would watch it, on the replay or whenever. So the replays would be in the hundreds. But Roku, the lowest number of views for an interview have been 250,000. Maya Shaka, I'm going to her event next month. I'm actually a volunteer at her event next month. Her interview alone, 1.7 million views.
Wow.
Because she's the first Black female NFL referee, but it's NFL, NFL.
Yeah.
So 1.7 million. I've interviewed jazz artist Jakeem Joyner. I think his is an 800,000 plus, but Arabia Essence, I think hers is 1 million. So it's just a wider audience, and I needed that exposure for Girlfriend's Tea. And I'm hoping, someone's really encouraging me to start using. Now, James, I love StreamYard. StreamYard is the bomb. We're on Zoom. I started with Zoom, but I love StreamYard. And so someone is encouraging me to take it to the next level and having cameras, videographer. So
wonderful.
I have to grow into that.
James is trying to move us to StreamYard. So we're working on it. He's going to get us there eventually.
Okay.
But now you say you're on Roku.
Yes.
Explain that.
Roku, ROKU.
ROKU.
And you can find me under Global Vision Network or Poolside Cooking. They're the same, but Poolside Cooking is a show, but the network is Global Vision Network.
Okay.
Add Global Vision Network on Roku. It's just like adding a page or liking a page.
Right.
When you add that, you scroll down and you'll find Tea with Sebrina.
And that's what people. Well, everybody has a smart TV now, but that can be found on the smart TV system.
Or you can buy your little device and plug it in.
Buy your little device, and plug it in, and you can get that. Yeah, and I can see how that can expose you to a lot more followers or larger audience, which is the purpose, which is what you want. Let me. When I found out that you had created a tea line, a luxury tea line, I always wanted to ask you, okay, where did you get the expertise to say, let me create a luxury tea line and put it on the market, and I know it's doing well. And explain that how you got there, and you can also tell us about some of the teas that you offer.
But Sebrina,
I'm keep talking because I'm mad that I don't have a bag of it. I mean, I do have it, but I'd have to get up from the set. I was looking for something here, but go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah, so before you start, give your answer there and expound on that. James, you want to tell them about the crowd that we're going to transition from the radio?
Yeah, the time is going. Okay, we're going to transition from the radio to Facebook only, but I want to thank all the listeners on WGPL 1350 for listening this first half hour. And I also like to say, please support the Black media. It's important that we support our own because it's probably the programming you will see on here you won't see anywhere else. So, and we're part of that. So support us as well. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next Monday. And we'll continue on. And gave Sebrina a chance to go get her
to get her tea.
to get her tea. So go ahead. Continue.
This is Girlfriend's Tea. This is the samples pack. Well, actually, this is the flavor. Somebody's ordering a pack, and I packed it up already. Unapologetically berry. But let me tell you how it started. Well, first of all, I always I always forethought this. I saw Girlfriend's Tea on certain women products like a clutch, scarves, hats. But I said, you got to do the tea because I would always encourage the woman, let's get educated, let's fellowship over tea.
Mm-hmm.
But it never dawned on me that I could have my own tea line. Thomas, because I was thinking, well, how do you do that? You know, what do I have to do? I didn't know anything, but Google is amazing.
It is. It
Google
is.
is amazing. I'm telling you, I finally decided, and I just started looking at, tea manufacturers, and I came across a few, but one that I went with was significant to me because all the others were probably great. They talk more about quality control and making sure there's no foreign matter and how they give back to those indigenous communities and
Mhm.
hire from those indigenous communities. I mean, I was just proud to be connected. So when I called them, I was thinking, there's no way I could do this, but I did it. To God be the glory. They have thousands of variations, and I'm hoping that I will have a very not just a tea, but they have various. You can mix it. You could probably take maybe 1,000 teas and make 1,000. I'm just thousands. I'm just trying to guess at what they do. But they have taste testers and all of that on board. So I was just impressed with them. And I decided to name the teas my brand. I know of a couple others from watching the internet who are using their tea because I know the names of their teas and I
Mm-hmm.
know the ingredients. And I just say, hey, if I'm going to put my label on, I'm going to at least be unique.
Mm-hmm.
So we can do that. They encourage you to do that. So all of my teas are uniquely named by me, and I'm about to trademark some of my favorite ones before somebody else does.
Mm-hmm.
My
Mm-hmm.
favorite flavors. So it just came about, and I decided to go for the packaging. This packaging is not my permanent packaging. It's really a royalty-free artwork, piece of royalty-free artwork. I met with an artist, and she's going to give me my own iteration of that. I don't know what she's going to come up with because as I get exposure, I want to make sure that it really is all mine. It's all
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
mine.
And it's important to know when you get into what you're doing, as other people aspire to do that, trade trademarking is so important. It can save. I saw one of your videos with an attorney out of
Oh,
Chicago, and some of the things she said that the cost that you might have to pay to trademark might be $2,000, but it could cost you down the road if you have problems $100,000 trying to
Exactly.
protect that trade, your name, your very
Mm-hmm.
name. It could be named James Overton, but if you don't have a trademark, because I go on Facebook and it's thousands of James Overtons up there. And so it's your name and your birthright, but not your trademark, right?
I'm glad you brought that up, James, because actually I ended up hiring her as a result of that, or becoming one of her clients as a result of that. And I just saw her in the news. You just scrolling, and that's how I pick my clients sometimes.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Uh-huh.
my guests, because I'm like, wait a minute. And then I also pick them based upon what I want to know.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm trying
Mm-hmm.
to get some free advice,
Uh-huh.
hello, let me get an interview because I got to pay for the information or to have a conversation with her. So what she shared during the interview was startling for me. And I knew, look, true to her trade, because she's an attorney, I knew that she had looked me up. She knew I wasn't trademarked. So as she was talking, she said, take, for example, Girlfriend's Tea. And I
Hmm.
said, oh, there we go. She
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
already that I'm that trademark. But what was startling for me was that she said, now it has to be, this is what I learned. I used to think that you trademark the name and it goes across all categories. No,
Uh-huh.
it's the name of the category. So coffee talk, and if the category is talk show, then somebody else can trademark coffee talk
Coffee
for
talk.
coffee talk
Exactly.
for
Mm-hmm.
whatever, grocery store. Okay. So when she shared that, if someone else trademarked and all I hear was Girlfriend's Tea, they can take your domain.
Oh yeah.
Even
That's
though
right.
I was the first to get girlfriendstea.com,
Mm-hmm.
they can
Mm-hmm.
take the domain. So she is $2,000, but I want to share, James. There are attorneys here. I found out they would do it for $250.
Hmm.
So I'm going to do some more, and I'm going to use an attorney. I don't feel like doing it, but she is highly effective. I don't know about the other attorneys, but she'll give you a green, yellow, red light. And I didn't realize that trademarking names is not just about the name. For example, she shared with me that I probably wouldn't get it for the talk show. I was heartbroken because there's a company that already has, not Girlfriend's Tea, something like maybe Girlfriend's Cocktails. And I'm thinking it's not the same words. She said it doesn't have to be. It's the assumption of whether or not the general public will confuse the two names. So there's a
Exactly.
lot with trademarking. I'm going to stop there.
You just imagine, because I have a Slim Nation. Uh,
You should trademark it.
yeah, and when I looked it up, I call it the Slim Nation, and then somebody else out there has Slim Nation,
Mm.
But
and
they may not have trademarked it yet.
and they may not have trademarked it, but I need to do something
You
in
do.
Do
order
it. I
You
tell
to
do.
you,
hold on to that. And one time I was thinking about Slim Nation Under a Groove, but that's funkadelic. I
Yes,
don't
that's
want to
right.
get into that because if
yeah.
the One Nation Under a Groove, that's too, and they could come after me and say that's too similar.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought that was a nice hook, Slim Nation Under a Groove. But then I thought about it. George Clinton would be
Well,
would
they
be
could
after
come
me
after you.
because sometimes the similarities in it, is enough for them to say, well, you're using a likeness of what we have already created.
I
So
don't
you have
think
to be
so.
very careful.
You have to be careful, but if they haven't trademarked, I mean, that's a song. You're not a song, you're a talk show.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
You're a different genre. If
well
they haven't trademarked it, and you'll be safe.
right.
Yeah.
It would be worth checking into. You just can't go
Yes,
out there and say, well, I'm gonna use that, and then find
yes,
out
I
later.
agree.
Yeah.
That's the same thing if you trying to get an LLC and you put it in,
Exactly. Exactly.
put the name in there and the computer spits out somebody else has it or a similarity, and that's the same thing, in a greater context with the trademark. But you have to be trademarked because one, it protects your name and also protects the products that name sells and represents and the monetary piece. And so you don't want to steal to create something to have it taken away from you by somebody that's going to let you do the work and later on reap the benefits from it. So yeah,
So,
but
Sabrina, getting to your teas, what flavors of tea? I have always been a coffee drinker. My daughter is an avid tea drinker, and I recently became a tea fan. What flavors of teas do you have, and how would I acquire your tea?
Well, I'm so glad you asked, Leah, because I love.
Finger
Look,
out, of course. Got to pick the pinky out. Got to put the
well,
pinky out.
and I found out that that's not even the right etiquette. The pinky up. That we taught that
Yeah.
if you go on the etiquette page, you'll find out that we're not supposed to be doing that.
Uh,
So that's not the proper way. The proper
okay. Okay.
people do it, but it's not the proper way. Let me tell you,
This
Leah.
looks good.
It looks good.
It looks good. Oh, that's right. It looks good. Let me tell you, Leah. I'm glad you asked. Well, at the event that I did yesterday, I have a 501c3 PhD in excellence. Going back to what James said about what happened with me, it's a brand new PhD in excellence, pass or dismantle. They served Belle the Ball at the yacht club. It was the first time I had ever, I should say, spotlighted my tea cold.
Mhm.
And let me tell you, I took them the cinnamon sticks and I said, I want you to put an orange slice as garnishment. But they sweetened it just right. So I'm calling the chefs at the yacht club. I gave them all of my bags, but I really wanted to feature Belle the Ball, especially at a tea with women. And it was a hit. So Belle the Ball has hibiscus. I don't know all of them by heart. Actually, I have my sign here, but it has hibiscus in it. But all of the teas have 12 flavors. 9 of the 12 are herbal, which means they're caffeine free.
Mhm.
So Belle the Ball has hibiscus, and it's not fruity like a smoothie, but in the tea world, it has a fruity taste.
Mhm.
Uniquely golden. I love uniquely golden. It's good for your skin. It has ginger and turmeric.
I was
Absolutely.
asking if I was going to ask, do you have anything with ginger and turmeric?
Yes. Uniquely
Yes.
golden. Uniquely
Mhm.
golden. Of course, I have green tea. It's out of Japan. Japan Sencha Kakagawa. And I may change up some of the flavors in the samples, Pat. But unapologetically berry is just that. Unapologetically berry. Doesn't taste like a berry smoothie, but it is it's popular. It's here. Somebody's ordering the bag now that I'm shipping out. Unapologetically berry. Tranquility, please. It has chamomile in it. So
Mhm.
all of the teas are uniquely named by me, other than Earl Grey. So I said, what can I do? You
Right.
can't do Earl Grey. Earl Grey and English breakfast, I dare not rename it. So I just named it Sir Earl Grey.
Okay. Okay.
No, it's an Earl Grey, keeps his name, but I think I could have done it, but I think it's wrong because those who are Earl Grey drinkers will say, this is Earl Grey. Why would you name it driving to the airport, or something like that?
Hmm. Well, how does one acquire your tea?
Okay, thank you. Girlfriendstea.com, girlfriendstea.com. Click on luxury tea, and from there you go to shop now, which is my Square site. So I don't like to say girlfriendstea.square.site. It's too much to remember.
Right. Right.
Girlfriendstea.com, luxury tea tab. There you go.
Okay. Okay.
Sabrina, I want to talk about how important your faith is in everything you do. But before I go there, since you've been doing this, you've had the opportunity to experience a lot of things. I see your videos, you're out there. But one of the things you conquered since you've been doing this, your fear of heights. And one way to do that is to parachute. I mean, I
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
think
I
I could do
saw
that
that.
now, even though it looks kind of safe. It's not like jumping out of a plane. You're in a almost controlled situation, but you're kind of high up there. And for someone that has a fear of height, how did you, I mean, well, I guess that was something you wanted to do to conquer that fear. So how did that go?
Well, I haven't parachuted yet. I want to do that.
Oh, okay.
I parasailed,
Parasailed. Oh,
I
okay.
didn't jump
I'm
out the plane.
sorry.
Oh my God. But I want to do that someday.
Mhm.
But you know what, you all? One day I woke up, I'm serious, as I put on the page, and I said, I want to go parasailing. Where did it come from? I don't know. I just wanted to do it. And I
Hmm.
went all by myself.
Hmm.
I couldn't find anybody who wanted to go. And I just had to do it quickly. And so within a couple of weeks, I scheduled an appointment down at the ocean front. And it was amazing, but it was also horrible because I threw up in the air. That's the part I
No,
did.
you didn't. Oh my goodness.
I threw up. Who throws up in the air? I'm like
Yeah.
trying to make sure I miss my legs
Uh-huh.
and clothes. But I was so embarrassed because it was a family there with a young child, a young girl. And she went up, went down with no problem. And when I came down, I was heaving. And when I got down, she said, I'm sorry you were sick in the air. And let me tell you though, when I got up there before that, queasiness, because it was when I started going down and the bounciness of it, it was absolutely amazing to be above the clouds. And what I discovered about myself, as I shared briefly on my page, is that it's not so much that I have a fear of heights, because I can fly in a plane. If I'm carried, I'm okay. Because I
Hmm.
was carried, I realized that I have a fear of walking
Hmm.
up high.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's really what it is.
So,
So
and you, oh,
go ahead,
go
go ahead,
ahead,
James.
Leah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, so your faith, you're a member of Calvary Revival Church, and even when I first met you, your faith was very strong, and it was your purposely include your faith in everything you do. So, how important has that been in you, you know, continuing what you do? I know sometimes you get up in the morning, just like this morning. I remember earlier you text me and it was like five something, said I'm up. And then I probably think in between there you might have dozed off a little bit. So sometimes it might be difficult to you know what you have to do, but it can be a challenge, you know, getting up and say, oh, I enjoy this, but today, I'm just not feeling it. So a lot of times your faith has to come in, and you have to, pray yourself into some situations. So, but how important is your faith in everything you do today?
It's very important. But I want to say, when I messaged you, when I said I was awake, but I was still in bed.
No,
So I
okay.
was awake. And then when I finally got up, I realized it was taking me longer to get it together, because I was still, still asleep somewhat.
Yeah.
Well, I gave my life to Christ. I remember this date. I wrote it in my Bible, and it's on my calendar to remind me every year, on February 23rd, 1997. And it wasn't the first time that I was introduced to Christianity, or the Lord. I mean, it wasn't going to be any other faith with my mom. And that's how it is in a lot of households. You may know that when you will commit, it will be Christ, because you weren't exposed to any other faith. And I thank God for that, because we know who Jesus Christ is. But I went to church, but it was just going to church. And I went to church. So I say to people, I got married to Christ several times, but it didn't stick until the third or fourth time. I walked down the aisle to the Lord and said, I do. But,
Hmm.
Hmm.
it didn't stick. And you know why it didn't stick? because I didn't study him. It's just like being married. He uses that analogy of Jesus Christ is married to the church. You
Mm-hmm.
marry a spouse, but you don't learn your spouse. You don't honor your spouse, then chances are it's not going to survive. So that's what it was. It wasn't until I started reading for myself, getting into classes. And when I learned who he was, I was like, oh my God, he is phenomenal. And he changed my life. He changed my
Mm-hmm.
life as it relates to how I relate to men. I stopped having sex. I don't want to say how long because y'all would be. I mean, it was long. It's still been. I'm just saying. So I used to talk about it, but I'm like, God, I'm done with you. Hurry up. I'm just done. I don't even want to tell anymore. But it was really, I mean, decades. I'll put it that way. And so God just arrested me. And those who knew me knew, and it's amazing. One would think that as a result of kindness, waking up and saying sweet words to everyone. I didn't feel worthy to be in ministry when God called me into ministry. I'm in ministry. I'm a minister at CRC because when I think of a minister, I think of someone who always said, "You've got it, baby. You've got this, honey." And always have, just that even temperament. Well, I'm not, I'm all over the place. I'm hyper and it's a control. I'm a controlled extrovert, but still, and I like to have fun. I like
Mm-hmm.
to dance. Okay.
Mhm.
And so I had to get released from that. Yes, you can dance, is what you're dancing to.
Mm-hmm.
But you
Mm-hmm.
can dance. I'm not dancing to, raunchiness is what you're dancing to. And it's just still keeping that honor before the Lord. So I said, okay, God, you really have called me. And I began to feel comfortable in who God has made me to be. And I think that's important that we not lose who God made. Anything that goes against him, we need to lose. But that we
Mm-hmm.
not lose who God made us to be. So I'm sharing this to say, well, one of my friends, I'll name her now. I haven't named her when I said this before, but my friend Andrea. And so I'll play this for her. When your friends know you and they know how you were in the world, especially with men, and I'll leave it there with men. And when I gave my life to Christ and stopped having sex before marriage, see, your testimony is the greatest witness to those who know
Mm-hmm.
you. And she said to me, Sabrina, if I never knew there was a God, I
Mm-hmm.
know now. She said, girl, and I'm going to leave it right there
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because God is good. And I can say this when I wake up in the morning, when people say, what do you identify with? I never thought about when a speaker posed that
Mm-hmm.
question to us who were in the class. What do you identify with? I said, my God, I don't identify as a mother. I'm not a mother. I don't even identify with my singleness day after day. I just identify with being a Christian more than
Mm-hmm.
anything. Because when I mess up, that's something I do every day. I'm just saying if my mood isn't right, or if my thought, even the words I say to myself, my thought process isn't right, I say, God help me. I identify more so every day with being a Christian than being a woman or even being African American.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's the greatest thing that has ever happened to me because I'm learning that I can be myself. I can be humorous. I joke with God. I say, okay, God, have mercy on me. I like playing. I like talking with him. I like talking mess with God. I do. I
Mm-hmm.
say, you can do something else. I just love him.
Sort of like what's that character on Facebook? The lady, she's a comedian that
I
she
love
came
her.
down here recently, and
Charlene, the Christian.
Charlene, yes,
I love Charlene. She's phenomenal.
yeah. But it's good you're in the ministry now, so you can share a lot of things outside of the social media
Mm-hmm.
realm, and share all that you share with us today, and so you're in demand for public speaking and things like that. So
My gift, evangelism. I love sharing the goodness of the Lord. And when
Mm-hmm.
we talk about my mom, Thomas, as you mentioned earlier, my mom, she was in the church. I'll say that. Everybody, you kind of go to church, but
Mm-hmm.
she had a relationship. And I remember when she shared, and I shared this recently, that when she went to church, someone joked about her shoes, and she was very sensitive about it. She didn't go to church for years.
Mm.
She didn't go to church. And the reason I know it was really something that really hurt her, she saved a column from you. Everybody remember Ann Landers? Or
Oh
is it
yeah.
Dear Abby? And
Dear Abby, yeah.
so she shared that column because she was hurt. And I went to church with her with my stepfather. When she met my stepfather, Lynn with Selby, they're both deceased now. He was already saved. And I went to church with them. And Pastor McPherson, Pastor, I want to get the name right, Clarence. I hope I got the name, but Clarence McPherson, I hope I got it right. He shared about, because there's two McPhersons and I'm getting the brothers mixed up. But he did an altar call and said, say to your neighbor, are you ready to give your life to Christ? And my stepfather asked my mom, are you ready? And she went forward. I was there to witness my mom giving her life to Christ. And I had her anniversary date, which was always in January. And I would never let her forget it. Every January when I took a balloon, she'd be like, what is this about? My birthday is next month. She would forget sometimes. I said, Mom, it's your born day. That's the most important day. Your new birth in Christ. That's the most important day.
And we all must remember, we may be the only sermon that someone out there ever see. So you have to walk the walk and you have to talk the talk. So you have to be that example for those out there in the community as well.
I'm glad you said that, because I can be very hard on myself in that area. I don't ever want to miss it for Christ. I mean, we all make mistakes, and I know I'm far from perfect, but I think about that in customer service when I'm upset and I'm speaking to someone. I don't want to miss my witness for Christ at all. At all.
That is.
And I just want to say, just like what you're doing, what we do here, I value my co-hosts. They are a part of everything we do here and our success here. And you also have a co-host. You want to give her a shout out?
Mika. She was at the event yesterday, just thinking about, I mean, I got emotional talking about it. I never want to miss my witness, Tamika. Tamika Kirkland Watts. I met her.
Say her name again. I didn't hear.
Kirkland. Tamika Kirkland. I'll tag her. I share the videos on my page now, but I'll tag her. She, the verse for Girlfriend's Tea, I know it's Proverbs 18, but I think it's Proverbs 18:24. In order to have a friend, you must show yourself to be friendly. Give me if I misquoted the verse, but I know it's Proverbs 18, I believe it's 24. If you want to have a friend, you must show yourself to be friendly. And I do show myself to be friendly, but it also said there's a friend who sticks closer than a brother.
Exactly.
And Tamika, she balances me. I am an extrovert. I'm not an uncontrolled extrovert, that's for sure. But it's so calm, and like James, when I came on, of course, I came on at 6:29, and so if we're at the last minute and we're scrambling, she said, and it does. She said it always works out, and it does, because we all know what we do. Yeah, you know your craft, just do it. It is what it is. If it starts late, just keep it moving. It is what it is. But she, someone who compliments you. We each, Leah, Thomas, you know your role on this show. James, you all know what you bring. And it's nice to know when your partner, your teammate, respects the role.
It's important. Respect is extremely important.
It is very important. I don't have to struggle. There's no struggle with my role. I need that. I need to have someone that can help me, tell me what I need to improve, but not try to take my seat.
Exactly.
Help me improve, and don't try to take my seat. And that's not about conceivedness. It is what it is. It's Girlfriend's Tea. And she's always pushing me out there. Even yesterday, we recorded a new commercial. I wanted her to go through the door first. I'm saying, come on, you're my girl. She said, no, you're Girlfriend's Tea. And I don't like that, because I don't have to be the first one all the time. So she honors me. And in return, I honor her. I love her immensely. She's getting married. Shout out to Tim and Tamika. They're getting married in Ocho Rios on October 1st, and I'm flying there on September 38th. And I mean September 28th. Look at me, all my dates wrong. And so she gonna be like, "Girl, get it right, Bree, get it right. I need to get it right." So we're flying there, but October 1st, they're uniting Ocho Rios, Jamaica. My first time there.
Oh, your first time, you're gonna enjoy it.
I can't wait. You've been, Leah.
Yes, many times. You will enjoy it. Believe me.
You'll find out Leah's been everywhere. She's swimming with dolphins and
hey, you have to
riding Campbell's and
you have to do those things like you got up in that
Yeah,
parasail, have to do
yeah.
those things that bring you the greatest fear and just run with it, you know?
Leah, I didn't know we were already Facebook friends. There you go.
Yes,
I
yes,
didn't know. So there we go. Leah, we're gonna have to talk more.
we will, we will.
And thanks for saying what you said because we all bring us a little something different to the table, but collectively it all works for Portsmouth Coffee Talk. And really appreciate and the Colonel has been a little quiet here because I guess we've been dominating the conversation, but it happens like that sometimes. It might be another show where each another person dominates, but we always respect that, and Colonel always brings that political uh, part to everything we do. But not only that, he also has some other things he can add to what we do here. And Leah, and like I joked, Leah knows everybody. And like after this show, she's gonna know you. You're gonna be
Oh yes. I'm
one of
gonna
her girlfriends.
Yeah, I'm gonna
So
be a part of
yeah,
this girlfriend tea deal here.
yeah.
I like that.
I love it.
Leah's never met a person she didn't like. So
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
um,
same here,
James, I
but you
just
know,
need to say when I have
yes.
a youth group, and when we had our you should have had your tea line when we had our little tea for our young ladies. It was called She, Me, and a Cup of Tea. And we needed your tea line for that event. But next time we have one, we will focus in on your tea line when we have our event.
excellent, excellent. I just want to say, I know you're going to wrap up. I know you haven't asked for the close, and I'm saying that I'm really proud of each of you. But James, I met James, as you all know, through the radio station. But we have a mutual friend, Pamela Cham, who knows James, and I'm just proud of you, James, because you've been through some things, and you are. I mean, you're doing it. You're doing
Mhm.
it, even
Thank
though
you.
you may not know StreamYard. You tried it anyway,
Mhm.
and I'm proud of you. And look at you with your mic and looking all like, I mean, you're looking like, I don't know, it's Tavis Smiley. I don't know the radio host, but you're looking, I mean, you're doing the thing. And so, and I love the relaxed environment of
Yeah.
coffee talk.
Yes, and thank you. I appreciate that. And yeah, I almost forgot about our mutual friend Champ. And I remember one time we they had some event and we were there together and we sat at the same table and talked. And then it was years later when we
That's
met at the
right.
radio station, and then we said, "Wow!" We found out that we had that mutual friend. And so we actually sat at the same table and talked.
It was
Mhm.
her brother's funeral. I didn't realize that.
Brother's
You
funeral
I talked
memorial.
at length
Yeah.
with your wife. She
Yes,
Mhm.
reminded me.
yes, yes. Yes, indeed. And that's just how things work. And I believe everything happens for a reason.
It does. It
We were
does.
meant to meet at some point, and meeting you at the radio station. And just going back, I can remember seeing that group together and you trying to get in,
Which one?
what, starting out with Carlos, and their format. And then you were trying to bring in that, sort of that girlfriend thing then, not necessarily the girlfriend thing, but you had a certain uh, area that you wanted to cover and people you wanted to interview. But it just, at the time, and was nothing against anything that was going on there anyway. Just wasn't, the mix just wasn't for you. And you still hold them close. You still are
Oh,
friends
I
with them, and,
do. I
and as
love
well as
Carlos
with the
and
station.
McLaren
Yeah.
too. Hey, we
But
fought. Trust me, we fought.
yeah. Well, everybody fights with Carlos. As people watching, he
We
knows.
fought.
He
And
knows.
he jokes about that. He said, I know you say I'm hard on you. I said, Carlos, bye. You just
Yeah.
mean. You just mean sometimes. But I love him.
Yeah.
Why? Because he always, well, I say regularly, drops an encouraging word to me.
Yeah.
And so, and I respect that. And I like him for that.
And
So he knows.
brutally honest,
We
and
joke.
brutally honest. And sometimes after the fact, you have to respect that because not everybody is that honest with you. Some
Yeah.
people put on a mask and and you're fooled by that. But anyway, we digress on that. But as we come to the close, I want to go to my co-hosts and say if they want to make any last comments or have any last questions for our guests.
Well, I'll start off since you said I was quiet. And then, Sabrina, first I'd like to thank you for coming on this early in the morning. And I remember the first time I met you down at the station also. And so, but what I do want to say is it brings my heart warm as I look at you and as you talk about girlfriend's tea, and I have to say, yes, this is your design, is a project that you design, organize, produce, and execute it and put it out for the world. He goes back to tells me that yes, strong Black women that are out here that we don't see, but now I'm looking at. And Slim always talks about the political piece, and I go back to say our strong Black women saved our democracy in 2020.
That's right. And it's
And
not the first time, Colonel.
yes,
It's not the
and
first time.
I'll be the first to say
Leah.
they come out and save us from our democracy in 2022 because it is on the ballot.
Exactly.
So I just want to see you continue doing what you want, spreading the word. And I know you said, you don't get into the politics piece of it, but everything is politics nowadays because the rights of you to have this show may be at stake in another
Exactly.
year or so. And so, yeah, so that's my spin to it. I always have to get back to talk about the Confederates that have taken over this country.
Thomas, I want to thank you for your words of encouragement, but I do want to add one thing. So I don't want to slight Carlos, but Carlos, when he shared with me, and it's true, he invited me and I told him I can't do talk. I knew I could be, MC. I knew I could talk. I didn't want to do it. He was the genesis for me being comfortable with having an audience. And he doesn't let me forget that. But he's right though, because I did tell him no. And he said, just look at you. And he reminds me of that. And I do thank him for that. I really do.
Mhm.
Yeah, just that brief time sort of opened the door for you
It was
to
a
do
year.
that.
Yeah,
It's,
just a year.
it like I said, everything happens for a reason, and that was meant, even though you weren't there long, but it just spearheaded you into another direction. And look at you now.
Mhm.
God is good.
Yeah,
Well,
you
Miss
walked the
Sabrina,
door.
this
Yes.
has been a plum pleasing pleasure, let me say.
Love that. PPP.
PPP.
Pleasure.
And
I'm going
I
to steal
look,
that. I'm going to trademark that. No, I'm
oh,
joking.
I better trademark it first now. Listen, but I want to say, thank you so very much for coming on. And I like what it is you're doing. I will be following you to see some of the great things that are taking place in your life as well. And just want to thank you for coming on Portsmouth Coffee Talk. And once again, for those who are out there who are watching, please share with them again how they can view what it is you're doing, how they can receive your wonderful tea, because I'm waiting for the ginger and the turmeric. I will be ordering. So please share with them that information so they can have that before we go.
Thank you so much, Leah. And I'll send you an invite to the group, girlfriendstea.com. If you go there, you'll see it all. There's a link to join the Facebook group, but also if you want to follow me on other platforms other than Facebook, then Girlfriends Tea with Sabrina on IG, YouTube, follow, subscribe. And did you all know, who don't know? I mean, if you just get to 100 subscribers, I only have 135, but if you get 100 subscribers, you can have your unique URL so you don't have all the stream alphanumeric. So that's it. Girlfriends Tea with Sabrina. And I just started a TikTok. I only have 77 followers. Follow me.
I'm trying to get used to that TikTok deal. I tell you.
Dude, I'm like, what in the
I'm
world?
telling you, as soon as I learn one avenue, another avenue opens, and you got to keep learning and learning and learning. So, well, that's where they are now. They are on TikTok now. So it's something that we have to learn as well.
Yeah,
But
we're behind. We're behind.
Yeah.
we are definitely behind. And I only have TikTok because my granddaughter put it on my phone. I only have Snapchat because my granddaughter put it on my phone. But I'm going to get used to all of that stuff. I'm getting better with Snapchat. So now I got to work on this TikTok deal. But
Yeah.
Sabrina, I want to say once again, thank you so very much. I look forward to the invite to join your ladies group. And I look forward to all the great things that you are going to do in the future that God has prepared you for. And you just have to implement it and make it happen. So I just look forward to following you. And I want to once again thank you for joining us this morning on Portsmouth Coffee Talk.
Thank you
And
so
I look forward, as I said, to meeting you in person. Everybody else met you in person. I haven't. So
much. You know what? We're going to make arrangements for that to meet for coffee. And you
sound
know what we say on when I end the
Or
show,
tea.
I say to the girlfriends, and I'm saying it to you, girlfriend,
all right. I
girlfriend.
like that. I
That's what
like
we say
that.
on the show.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and I thank you as well. And I'll throw in a little plug. You might want to interview Aaliyah because she has an amazing story as well. And just like we mentioned earlier, she's been everywhere in the world, especially her trips to Africa. You would want to hear some of her experiences in her African trips, and it sort of brings you home. The things she learned and things she experienced going to Africa. So
Yeah, my heart is in Africa.
yeah,
Believe me.
Wow.
My
keep that
heart
in
is in
mind.
Africa.
You've been there several times, eh?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Ah,
yes.
She
Lovely
al- she
people.
almost she almost brought some kids home with her, but
I wanted to. If they
oh,
had only let them come out the country, they would have
yeah.
been with me. So,
what a blessing.
But anyway,
yeah,
Sabrina, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the
Thank
time to come
y'all.
out to your
thank
busy
you.
schedule
And
and
the
your
energy at this hour of the morning, my goodness.
oh yeah. And that's subdued energy for her, you
I
know.
know. I heard her say that, Slim.
This is
Yeah,
talk show energy.
you haven't seen, the all out
The
Sabrina
all out
yet.
energy.
But I love it, and I encourage men to watch her videos and follow her as well because the event you had yesterday was men and women. Am I
Yes, it
correct?
was.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, Clarence Neely, shout out to Clarence.
Clarence,
He's
yeah.
the content manager for Global Vision Network, which is owned by Jimlyn Hewlett.
Hmm.
But he shared with me, actually, surprisingly, 56% women and 44% men are watching Girlfriends Tea.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah,
So I see the
Wonderful.
metrics.
yeah. So, men, pay attention, because you need to know what the women are doing out there and how they think and everything like that. You think you know, but you know.
And always remember, Sojourner said, if one man can turn this world upside down, then all of us women together can write it back up again. So that's where we are right now, honey.
Yes,
This
have
is
to
this
agree
is
with that.
this is this is our time in society, and we have to claim it.
Come
This
Yes.
is
on,
our time. This is the
reclaim
time
our
for
time.
we
I'm
Yeah.
claim
reclaiming
reclaiming
my
our
time.
time. We are reclaiming our time.
Yes, indeed, amazing. And thanks again. And Portsmouth Coffee Talk is here for our voice
Sorry, James. Our community
In our future.
and our tea.
and our
And our
tea.
tea. I love it. Thank you all so much.
Thank
I,
you, and have a
Thank
great
you.
have
Thank
a
you so
great
very
week,
much.
a great day, and a great week.
God
Have a
bless
great
you all.
day.
All
Take
right.
care, everybody, and thanks for
All
watching
right.
Portsmouth Coffee Talk.
Bye bye. There we go.
Stop the recording here.
So, Leah, we'll schedule coffee.